an issue and actually the problems in our prisons is to say that we should deport the nigh on 12,000 foreign criminals from our prisons. Do you think if we took Shamina Begum back and put her in prison, that would strengthen our argument to be able to deport criminals? Personally, I'm not sure. I'd also like to add that if we put Shamina Begum into prison, under Calamity Lammy even, she'd probably escape within 24 hours or be released by mistake, as the other 91 have indeed been as well. So your thoughts on that? 87222. Start your message with the word talk. We're delighted to say good morning to Mark in Birmingham. I'm sorry, but if you keep getting texts from the same number, but it's your fault, Jeremy, as you keep bringing up subjects I'd like to comment on. Well, that's the point, isn't it? Sally, good morning. The world's gone mad. Baptising illegals, Shamina Begum and everything else going on, it's just making me think we are yet another terrorism incident waiting to happen. If we, the public, can see it happening, why the bloody hell can't the government look through the same lens as the people? Don't be ridiculous. Governments don't do that. Jonathan in Nottingham, a very good morning. I believe that the timing this Epstein email release is meant to overshadow the BBC scandal that basically acquits Trump of wrongdoing on January the 6th. Bobby, Ed Miliband just said on the BBC that the investigation into the leaks against who briefed against Wes Streeting inside number 10 might not be able to find who briefed against Wes Streeting inside number 10 because it's a very detailed thing and he thinks it might not happen. That from Ed Miliband, the man that Labour activists would vote for to be the next leader and thus your Prime Minister. A very morning to you. Welcome to Thursday. And a very big good morning as well. Brendan O'Neill, Chief Political Writer of Spiked. How are you, my friend?
Hi, Jeremy. I'm good, thank you.
Welcome to Mad Great Britain, where everything's up the Swanee. We start with the chaos at number 10, Brendan. Extraordinary scenes yesterday. No doubt, allies of Starmer thought they'd get ahead of the game and come out and say, you know what, he's strong, he's committed, he will fight any challenge. All that did was bring Streeting out of hiding to say, it's toxic, we're not doing this, we need to get on with the job. The backbenchers, as I watched Prime Minister's Question Time yesterday, were utterly extraordinary. I've got a couple of clips I'd love to share. It's all come down to this Morgan McSweeney, I'm told, the Chief of Staff. Morgan McSweeney, who apparently makes everything happen. Starmer refused to back him first. This was a great view. Have a look.
Prime Minister is not going to do anything about the toxic culture. This is his responsibility. Just last night, his allies accused not just the Health Secretary, but the Home Secretary and even the Energy Secretary of launching leadership bids. These attacks came from number 10, nowhere else, his toxic number 10. The person responsible for the culture in number 10 is his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney. Does the Prime Minister have full confidence in him?
Morgan McSweeney, my team and I are absolutely focused on delivering for the country. And let me be clear, of course, Mr. Speaker, I've never authorised attacks on Cabinet members. I appointed them to their posts because they're the best people to carry out their job.
That's the first thing I'd worry about, that he's actually described his cabinet as competent people. I think he got rid of Tulit Siddiq, his Bangladeshi corruption minister, because she's being done for corruption. I think he got rid of his transport secretary because she's actually a criminal who nicked a mobile phone. The list goes on and on. How incompetent, Brendan, in your mind, is this Prime Minister and this government?
It's the most incompetent government of my lifetime, or possibly the most incompetent government ever. I mean, what a complete shambles. And the thing that's really striking about this current scandal of backstabbing and leadership bids is the level of paranoia in Downing Street. Like, they are obviously, Keir Starmer in particular, is obviously just a very paranoid man. He thinks everyone's out to get him, and I'm sure some people are. He thinks the world is falling apart around his ears. He doesn't know what to do. And that's indicative of the fact that he is catastrophically unpopular with the public. He has no vision whatsoever for the country. He has no meaningful control over his own ministers and his own cabinet. This is a man out of control. It's like an emperor in his final days. It is actually almost tragic to watch it, but it's also funny at the same time.
I mean, that's the point. And then what's gone on from that this morning on the show is that people are going, listen, he's incompetent, he's rudderless. There's nothing in his DNA that smacks of like, I'm a conviction politician with a vision, just an over-promoted human rights lawyer. And then you think of the alternative. I think very few times in history have Labour got rid of a leader. But here's the reality. The party's rules are if 20% of the parliamentary party join forces, in Labour's instance, that would be 81 MPs. They've got 405. That would force a leadership campaign. His allies, Starmer's, went further yesterday. They said he would, he'd put his name on a ballot if that happened. If he was ousted, if those Labour Red Wall MPs, Brendan went, blimey, listen, I don't mean to be disloyal, but I'm going to lose my bleeding seat here unless something happens. We want to... The reality is the Labour membership would vote, and Wes Streeting and Shabana Mahmood and anybody on the right wouldn't stand a cat in hell's chance. The reality, if you look at every poll this morning and every bookmaker's list, that the two front runners would be Angela Rayner, who'd have to leave a new company that she set up called Wrong Move, and more than that, Ed Miliband romping away. Ed Miliband, that net zero zealot, could be the next Prime Minister, Brendan O'Neill.
You know how you have no idea who's worse. Is it the Labour leadership or is it the Labour membership? They're all a bunch of nutters, the lot of them, as far as I'm concerned. The thing is that if you look at the current clash, apparently between Starmer and Streeting, I don't actually mind Wes Streeting. I think he's an interesting guy. He's a good media operator, whatever. But it's the thinness of the clash that is most striking. Think about factional wars in parties in history. Think about the wets and the dries in the Thatcher era. The wet Tories versus the dry Tories. That was a real clash over the future of the country. That was a disagreement within a party about how to run a country. There was real substantial differences of political opinion. What we have here is just a party falling apart, collapsing before our eyes. It's like, backstabbing. It's very Shakespearean, lots of skullduggery. There's no meaningfulness to it. There's no substance whatsoever. Replacing Starmer with Wes Streeting, which is what some people want, would be replacing one cardboard cutout with another. There is no substance here at all. And then, of course, you have the membership potentially sweeping in to elect climate change lunatic Ed Miliband or discredited idiot Angela Rayner. What an awful choice this country faces as long as this government is still in power.
And that's my next question. We've got 3.5 more years of this, and whatever your political persuasion, I think most people can look at what's happening and think this is farcical. There are many people texting this morning saying, if this goes on, this country will be skint. Well, here's me to tell everybody we're skint already. What was it this morning? The UK economy grew by only 0.1% between July and September. All this growth has gone out the window. We're about to have a budget that's going to raise income tax for almost everybody across the social spectrum. We can't even afford the interest on our debts. We're borrowing, something 180 billion a year. The whole thing is so catastrophic, and there surely must come a point when the Labour Party can't blame the 14 years of disastrous Tory rule, because actually, somebody put it really well earlier, Brendan. They've managed to do what took the Tories 14 years in 14 bleeding months. It is an absolute disgraceful mess. And what would happen? What will become of this country in 3 years' time? Can you see a situation a bit like Liz Truss, where the markets, where so financially in trouble are we, they are forced to call an early general election? I know Farage has said he thinks it will be about 27. What are your thoughts?
Well, the thing is, the reason I hope there's a leadership move against Starmer is not because I think there's anyone of high quality to replace him in that stupid party, but because often when you have a prime minister who comes in that way, there has to be a general election. Not always, but usually a prime minister feels, look, I should go to the public. I can't have power just because I was voted in by some members. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping there'll be a leadership bid, and then eventually that will lead to an early general election. But I just want to commend the British public on their patience, because just think about how patient ordinary people are being right now with this government that is collapsing the economy, making it even worse, which is backtracking on all its promises, which doesn't know it's behind from its elbow when it comes to how to run a country, which talks about growth but delivers anything but. And people are, I think, being very patient. They know it's a complete catastrophe. They know it's a disaster, but they're biding their time, I think. They're waiting to pounce. And I think they're going to do that when the general election comes, and people are going to register their absolute disgust with this government by voting for reform or voting for Greens, please don't do that, or voting for one of the other parties as a way of saying, listen, Labour and Tories, you've messed up this country for more than 100 years, and we're going to take a chance on someone else now.
Apparently we're going to play a clip. This is very exciting. interesting. This is the would-be next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. If Keir Starmer is forced out, Labour members have intimated in a poll that mad Ed Miliband, that net zero idiot, would in fact be your next Prime Minister. Here he is speaking strangely to the BBC this morning. Can I just put a little caveat there? I'm not sure if this has been edited. Who am I to guess? Have a listen, have a watch.
Would like you to focus on a person who has briefed in Downing Street against the Health Secretary.
They should be sacked.
Can you brief us on the investigation? Is there currently an investigation going on to find out who that person is? Can you tell us the nature of that investigation?
Well, I know that the Prime Minister will want to find who that person is and will get rid of them if he can find it. The truth is, Charlie, as you know, it's because you've been around this a long time as I have, it's often very hard to find out who does this briefing. Because journalists understandably protect their sources and you can never get to the bottom of it. But of course, if Keir Starmer finds that person, I've discussed some of this anonymous briefing with him in the past, he'll get rid of them. I have absolute faith he will do that. He hates this stuff.
That could be our next Prime Minister, Brendan. That's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, he failed so spectacularly as the leader of the opposition, was ousted by his own party, ridiculed. Do you remember that tablet of stone with his aims? Do you remember that? I mean, and as for eating a bacon sandwich, geez, man, that's great. We'll watch that with interest. Loads of other stuff in the news as well. Today, the BBC will issue a formal and direct apology to President Donald J. Trump after he threatened to sue the corporation for £1 billion. We haven't spoken about this. We've spoken in the past about the BBC. I take the one thing about Trump and I move it to the side. I think the BBC is at a really important point. Similarly, even I think they need to be on a level playing field. I think the licence fee is long overdue for defunding. I don't get how so many scandals, starting with Savile, ending with Maxine Croxall, bless her heart, daring to say pregnant woman. Oh, wow, shocking. In the mix, you've got that Gaza documentary, you've got Bob Villan going deaf to the idea of all that stuff. I don't think two people's resignations are enough. I think the BBC needs to be forced to make take a long, hard look in the mirror. The charter's a couple of years away. The thing is, they're not answerable to anybody, are they, Brendan? They get 5.39 billion quid a year, and they run amok, and they are not unbiased. And in my mind, they cannot be described as the national broadcaster because they've got an ideology behind them.
Absolutely right. They've been corrupted by ideology. Now, the BBC has always had flaws. It's always got things wrong and done things we've disapproved of, etc., etc. But, cast your minds back to the 1980s, the 1990s. We would gather around the BBC to watch Top of the Pops, to watch David Attenborough documentaries, and to watch the news because it was generally impartial and would tell you what was happening in the world. The BBC used to be an incredibly important institution. In some ways, it was the glue of this country. It drew people together in front of their TV sets. That doesn't happen anymore for two reasons. Firstly, we live in a whole new era of television. We have the subscription model. People choose what they want to watch. They pay for what they want to watch. That is completely different to the 20th century. And also, the second, more important thing is the BBC now bows down to these crazy elite ideologies that the vast majority of people reject. Trump phobia, Israelophobia, the trans issue, where the BBC will lie to our faces and tell us that a man is a woman, the climate change hysteria, which I think the public is getting sick and tired of. The BBC was front and centre of all of those panics, all of those ideologies, all of those lies, which it foisted on us for the past 20 years. Something's got to change radically, and I don't think changing the people at the top is enough.
Couldn't agree more. Couple of other stories that I just wanted to pick your brains on because I know they've absolutely gone here and I know they'll go with you. Firstly, ISIS prize Shamina Begum. This has really got a response this morning. Should be allowed back, says an anti-terrorism review. Her husband currently in jail, I think, for 6 years. She married an ISIS commander, was sat there whilst people were being murdered across the world. She had, I think, in 2017, her citizenship revoked by Sajid Javid, apologies, I nearly said that horrendous man from London's name, he's always on my mind. And people are going, oh, well. Now, just to throw at you what a text said to me earlier, because I put it out there and it got quite a lot of response. What do you say to the man, Chris, who texted me and went, yeah, well, I would have her back and I'd put her in jail, because would that not strengthen our argument to get prisoners, foreign criminal prisoners in this country, taken back by their countries? I don't know. What do you make of that text?
It might do, yes. But I just don't trust that she would be put in jail. And I don't think she'd be put in jail for very long. That's just not what our country is made of anymore, sadly. You know, let's be honest about this. She is a traitor. She committed treason. She committed the worst crime against her nation, the nation where she was born, that it is possible to commit, which it means that she went off to join a bunch of hysterical religious fanatics that was devoted not only to killing people in the Middle East, but also to killing people in Europe and in the UK. She joined forces with our mortal enemy. That is treason. That is one of the worst things you can do. That is as bad as Lord Haw in the 1940s, making excuses for Hitler's Germany. You know, when Brits commit these kinds of treasonous acts, we should treat them incredibly seriously. She ripped up her own citizenship when she joined ISIS, when she threw her lot in with those homophobic, misogynistic, racist, supremacist terrorists. And I absolutely disagree with the idea that she should come back. She made her bed. She should lie in it.
Very interesting. Couldn't agree more. Actually, Wes Streeting was in the news yesterday, apparently briefing, and then came out and said, I am absolutely not. Number 10 is toxic. Has overnight accused the BMA of acting like a cartel over its pay demands. You'll remember that when Labour came to power, they gave junior doctors 20-something% and went, no, it's great, and everything's sorted. Oh, surprise, surprise. 23%, I think. 12 months later, they're back, and Streeting and all his cronies are going, oh, so that isn't enough. I had a doctor on earlier saying, pay's not great, conditions aren't great, the BMA don't speak for me, and strikes aren't where it's at, but we need more money. I simply said to him, and I'll say to you, how do you think that looks to the average Joe going to work today, hasn't had a pay rise in 3 years, who's struggling to pay his electricity bill or his food bill at the end of the week?
It looks terrible, doesn't it? You know, there is so much economic hardship in this country right now. There are people who've not had a pay rise in years and who are struggling because the cost of living is going up, but their pay packets aren't. And they will not be happy to see this. And especially think about the fact that, you know, getting a doctor's appointment is near on impossible in this country. And when you do manage to get one, it's not always a great service. And the NHS does often let people down. I know we're all supposed to bow down to it as this great, holy institution, the best thing in the United Kingdom. But actually, it often isn't. It's often a creaking institution which doesn't serve people very well. And then you have struggling people, can't get a doctor's appointment, even though they pay all their taxes, and then they see these people protesting for more and more and more. I think it's going to really tick people off.
Mate, it's great to have you on. Will you come back next week? We love having you here. Brendan O'Neill, thank you so much indeed. He's the main man at Spiked. We love him. 8:22. Striking doctors. You're not happy, Paula, are you?
Morning, Jeremy. These junior doctors are unbelievable, aren't they? Oh, yeah, they could get the same wages going working in a supermarket. But could they get all the on-call costs and all the overtime costs? And don't forget, at the end of their career that we've paid for their training, don't forget, they will have the chance of being a consultant and earning megabucks, and they'll have an NHS final salary pension, which is the best pension out there. Maybe they should reform their pension, and then we'd be able to give them more money. Perhaps that's something to think of. They just need to read the room. Thanks, Jeremy. Paula in Liverpool.
news coming this December. Our Talk TV app is moving to the Talk app. You can watch, catch up and listen to all your favourite shows and podcasts anytime, anywhere, all on the Talk app. From Monday, 1st of December, the Talk TV app will no longer exist, so don't miss out. So head over to your App Store or Google Play and search Talk now.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on YouTube, on your mobile, and on your side. This is Talk.
So it's Thursday morning. The voice is going. Welcome back. They'll be pleasing people. Welcome back to the home of common sense. Labour in turmoil. Keir Starmer hunkering down in number 10, worried about who's going to try and stab him in the back. Morning, Johnny.
Morning, Jezza. It's Johnny in the van, just listening to your news, and in the report it was talking about Morgan McSweeney saying that this leadership thing has put Labour into chaos. I think Labour have been in chaos since last July, haven't they? Great show, Jezza. Keep up the good work, mate.
And good luck to you in your van. Thank you very much indeed. 87222. You might want to talk about that chaos. You might want to talk about Donald Trump, who's going to get apologised today by the BBC because he could, of course, sue them for $1 billion. And we, the taxpayer, would have to pay for it. You might want to talk about the report that says that Shamina Begum, the ISIS bride, should be allowed back. And I'd love to know what you think about the new female Archbishop of Canterbury, who thinks it's perfectly fine to baptise migrants, which gives them an excuse to stay here, even if they haven't been vetted and they're illegal and they haven't escaped a war-torn country and they haven't brought their wives and children with them, despite the fact they're fleeing bombs. Not that there are any on the beach in France. It's just the tent's quite chilly at this time of year. One of the big stories in the Sun newspaper today, in fact it's the story on page 10, is the battle at the very heart of the British racing / gambling / betting shop industry, something very close to my heart. We say a very good morning to Steve Hawkes, Head of External Affairs at Flutter UK, an ex-Sun man. Stevie, good morning, how are you?
Morning, Jeremy, how are you? I don't think I've seen you for about a decade when we were on that Sun Employment roadshow.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say something else. Hanging out at Cheltenham, losing lots of money. Yeah. Good to see you, my friend. I wanted you to put it into layperson's terms. You notice what I did there? Political correctness at its worst.
Exactly.
This betting tax that Rachel Reeves is contemplating bringing in on the 26th of November, and I'm a supporter of national hunt racing and flat racing, and I'll stand and argue with anybody, is going to decimate, is it not, betting shops, the industry as a whole, the revenue, jobs, and everything, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd concur with quite a lot of that. I mean, my chief executive, Peter Jackson's writing in the paper today. If you look close enough, you can see it there. And it's where the government is, as well as all the other taxes that legal licensed regulated businesses pay, bookies also pay a 15% duty on sports bets and a 21% duty on gaming. That could be anything like online bingo, poker, roulette, etc. The government has originally talked about harmonising rates, to have a simplified rate. Now, obviously, in government language, that would mean a higher rate. It wouldn't mean a lower one. So that could be moving sports up to 21 or moving everything up 25, 30, etc. Where you've seen people like Gordon Brown and think tanks who basically don't like gambling, they've been talking about moving the gaming duty up as high as 50. So that's 138% tax rise. They've been talking about moving sports up to 25, which is a 67% tax rise. Overall, taking as much as £3 billion out of a sector that already pays £4 billion in tax. So that would clearly have an impact. As a gambling operator, we have one pot of money. So if you tax one bit by a lot, that's going to impact what we can invest elsewhere. It's not a free hit. It will threaten jobs. It will threaten investment. It will threaten the high street bookie, as you say. and it'd be a jackpot for the black market, unlicensed, illegal sites that you can find all over the internet that don't pay tax and don't invest in safer gambling.
And what's really interesting, that last phrase, and I'm glad you used it, safe for gambling, because the people like Gordon Brown and others who find gambling abhorrent, that is their opinion. My problem with, and if you noticed, bookies over the last, all betting outlets over the last 2 or 3 years have put that emphasis on safer gambling. If you look at any of the apps and any of the adverts, it's all about, as much control as can be brought. But we also have to come to that whole thing, which is freedom of choice. And we live in a society now where people like Gordon Brown would want to say, I'm telling you, you shouldn't gamble because you either can't handle it or it's not good for you. Personal free choice needs to be involved in that. You're right, Peter Jackson, your boss, saying we'll see a massive shift to the illegal black market, and my argument would simply be this: if people who want to gamble go to the black market, there will be no controls, it will not be safe for gambling, and people will find themselves in a far worse position, surely, than they are right now in an industry that is becoming more and more regulated. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's what we're arguing now. People would say that you're scaremongering, but you're seeing this across Europe. For example, in Holland, there was a survey about 2 months ago showing that the illegal market is now bigger than the legal market, and that was due to a combination of regulation and higher taxes. And look, we're not saying you can't regulate the sector. We're seeing a lot of it. We had 2 years ago the Gambling Act review under the Tory government. Where they introduced 62 different work streams: affordability checks, financial vulnerability controls, lower limits on stakes for slot games. We have had tougher regulation. We commissioned a survey last month where we got a guy to do some mystery shopping on the black market. He was able to open an account as Bo Peep, a 7-year-old, and bet on the basketball in America. He was able to open an account as 213-year-old Charles Dickens and sit back and punt on Lingfield. And that's the sort of funny edge of it. There are no controls, no verification. They actually target people who have self-excluded, people who say, you know what, I think I need to check out betting for a while. And you'll see online non-GamStop casino sites, that is specifically targeting self-excluded and vulnerable players.
I'll tell you a little story, actually, because years and years ago I bet too much, right? Everybody knows that, right? But I have the, I'm just saying, I have the Coral app. I'll tell you about the Talk TV app later as well. But I have the Coral app, and something that's happened in the last 2 months, which is really interesting, is they now have how much you've spent on a monthly basis against how much you've had back, and shows you profit or loss. And thus they have a situation where I think if you start to show that you're losing a lot, somebody will contact you and you'll get an email and we're going to do this. That is never ever happened before. It shows that the industry is caring about itself, but it's never going to happen on the black market. The Sun backing our Save Our Bets campaign. They're going to sponsor the 220 race on the Saturday. The Sun Save Our Races novices chase. Obviously, it would be good to find a winner. We'll do that at a later date. I can't overemphasize how much to the industry this tax, not just the betting industry, but the racing industry as a whole, is terrified about this. And we need to, I think, get away from it. It's like the people who say horse racing's cruel. People will have that opinion. There will be people who don't like betting. It's a huge industry, and I know the racing industry is very scared, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And just to correct you, Jeremy, it's a Save Our Bets novices stakes tomorrow at Cheltenham, 220. It's going to be bigger than the Grand National, you know.
Tomorrow? Sorry, tomorrow. I didn't realise, sorry.
I think they would have done a sweepstake, but there's only 6 runners.
Who's the favourite?
Alright, guys, time to get up. to add the AO always on display in the script as well, because it looks like it was breaking into always on display. Go ahead and upload this to the Nike store. Yeah, that tethering in process has an extensive amount of emissions. Alright, there we go, guys. I think this thing is fast enough. Yeah, it is definitely very fast when you're close to it. Yeah, this S10, I had it on overnight trying to upload to YouTube. It didn't upload anything at all. So it was, I put in 5 files in the queue, 4 video files in the queue. Didn't upload anything. After the screen turned off, it didn't upload anything at all. So like I said, it's definitely a big issue in Android, you know. It's a big enough issue in Android where it will just not upload when the screen is off. I'm testing it right now with 4 files. I think it's got 3 files in the queue. Because it's not supposed to stop the browser. The browser is whitelisted. The browser is whitelisted, and it's supposed to keep uploading, but it doesn't. Doesn't upload, it just stops, you know. For no reason. I mean, there's other shit going through, you know, you're obviously connected to Wi-Fi. This guy is definitely gonna get in. You know, it's definitely got it's just the browser, you understand? Just to make it difficult to upload files. Oh yeah, it's going now. It's going now. It uploaded one file. Got 2 more in there. Let's see. It's going. It's going. Yeah, I ate that salmon yesterday. Very good. Yeah, it's going now. Yeah, that tethering in process has a big permission manifest. That shit is the size of IMS service, actually. It is IMS. It is IMS service. Tethering in process. I mean, I definitely looked at it before. I saw what was in there, but I only pulled some of the permissions from it. I only pulled some of the permissions from tethering in process, but there's a whole fucking... It's like 4 pages in total, I think. Maybe 5 text blocks, you know, 50 lines each. I have 3 of them that I pulled last night. I got to combine it with the other stuff.
Previously, yeah, I don't think it's a horrible hit.
at least 5 pages of commands, permissions in it. Going in the background now. I don't know, man. I'm really tired of it, really. I'm tired of digging for permissions. I'm tired of debugging it. We fixed the lag on the A50, I forgot to mention. Miracle. Absolute miracle, guys. Absolute miracle, but the A50 lag was gone last night. Like a ghost in the wind. It was instantaneously gone. So we looked at system UI, and what did we look at? I can't even fucking remember. We looked at system UI. I can't fucking recall. Short that box? But the good thing is, the lag was gone. Yeah, very warm last night. Another very warm day. I was cooking in there with the heat from the basement. That was a lot of heat. Lot of heat in that box. So we played around. I went, you know, balls to the wall on this A50, you know, last night, and the lag was gone. It is something you can fix. Understand? It is something you can fix, you know, even though it's pretty persistent, you know, with the lag. But it does, you can rectify it. If you dig around in there long enough, you can fix it. It is a fixable problem that you can fix, you know, right away. I mean, it's worked. Oh, I looked at the launcher as well. It's got something in there called STK event. STK event for the SIM cards. STK, that's what it is. That's what it is. STK, yeah, so it is fixable. It worked. Whatever the hell I was doing last night, we fixed the lag. Man, that's a big fucking deal. This thing's been lagging for 3-4 years now. I think it's been at least 3 years. That's how long this fucking phone has been lagging. I mean, this, and it was just like magic. Gone last night. I was like amazed. I was amazed. You know? We looked at call settings. We looked at ONS, which is, I mean, some of these phones don't even have eSIMs. That's what the ONS stuff is for. It's for eSIMs. The A50 doesn't have eSIM capability because it's a software thing, but the app is still there. So we looked at that stuff. We looked at, yeah, I mean, we looked at a bunch of stuff. And we got that lag sorted, you know. I mean, we probably have to redo it, you know, redo what we did last night to, you know, to keep the lag from coming back. If it's back today, I haven't even noticed. I turned on the camera and that was it. I didn't do anything else with the phone this morning. But yeah, it is it is something you can fix. Yeah, it does rectify itself. You know, with the right permissions. You know, when you look at the right apps. We were having an issue with GameGots as well, always running on this A50. GameGots was always running. It's not running anymore. It's not running anymore, guys. Not anymore, it's not. This A50 has been 3 years. That's how long ago it started. Of constant lagging. 3 years since they went to, since I applied these final patches on 11. Constant lagging ever since. 3 fucking years ago it started. Look at how much effort they're putting into saving this building. To my right over here. I mean, they demolished so many Tartari buildings. Why the fuck don't you just knock it down as well and rebuild it? It's already down to the fucking metal frame, you know? They've been in there trying to save that fucking building for the last, I don't know, 5 years. Anyway, I'm tired. You got condensation in the tail light, man. Look at that. That's mucho dinero, Holmes. How the hell did you get condensation in your tail light? Did you plug in your bulbs, plug in the light bulbs correctly? Because it's supposed to have a seal, you know? God. And hopefully they have a much better breakfast today. I didn't get anything yesterday, so I was working on the script. I was sitting down at the table drinking tea, working on the script. I didn't need anything from the breakfast.
What it looks like, and then I think that gives us enough time to really think about.
Today is Thursday, so we're doing the burger. We're gonna go down for a hamburguesa. The hamburguesas. and cervezas. Seen this e-tron before. I didn't know they made an estate. I was looking at the launcher. The launcher can do that kind of shit as well. I mean, obviously, it's always on. You're always using the launcher, so whatever stuff is in the launcher will cause a problem. And it's got game stuff in it. It's got gaming permissions. You know? Game home, game tools. Well, I don't fucking know. Oh my god. I'm exhausted. It's really warm, nice and sunny as well, very quiet weather. Hopefully it doesn't start raining in the next hour. I've seen days when it was nice like this and it started raining within half an hour. I mean, I'm like, alright then, you know. My goddamn, yeah, my feet are burning a little bit. Where are the homeless comrades? Are the homeless comrades coming today? I mean, I'm not that early. Ooh, look at this fucking disaster. It looks like a mosh pit. The homeless comrades are nowhere to be found today. This stand has emptied my keyboard twice because we're running GMS. Understand? It emptied my keyboard 2 or 3 times by now, which is quite something. There is some clipboard trickery going on with these phones as well, by the way. Freezing up, so we got to remove some stuff from the network stack. But what?
Busti dinheiro.
try that again. Service does not.
Like Aaron. Sorry, like
Somebody needs to let me in. I can see Ronak, but oh yeah. Yeah, okay.
done.